Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. We're going to be ranking all the MCU TV series so far that have been on Disney Plus. I'm wearing my Marvel shirt at the moment. For some reason, I've still kept completely up to date with the MCU. I just watched the Marvels yesterday. And contrary to popular belief, I actually thought the Marvels was pretty good, quite an enjoyable, entertaining movie. But anyway, we're not talking about the films today. We're talking about the TV series, which I can safely say my opinion on is definitely not as pleasant as the recent movies. So yeah, let's just dive into it. Starting off with the first MCU TV series, WandaVision. Everyone loved WandaVision. I don't know if I enjoyed it that much. I would say WandaVision had a lot of interesting ideas in terms of, and I love the fact that they tried something new. The whole like parodying of specific sort of time periods of sitcoms and those sort of TV series, and that progression from, like, I think they started in, like, I don't even know, in this sort of like the 60s or something, and they went all the way up to like the 90s and then 2000s. I thought that was very interesting. I don't think they executed it as perfectly as they would have liked, but I thought like just based on the concept alone, I'm willing to give that points. But then, like, that entire, like, reveal part when they reveal that Agatha Harkness, oh sorry, spoilers by the way, but when they reveal that Agatha Harkness is like the main villain, it just goes downhill from there in my opinion. And that whole last part was just terrible. So I think for those reasons, I'll give it a B, probably. Probably one of the better MCU shows for sure, but still not one of my favorites. All right, Loki. This was another one that people loved. Again, I wasn't the biggest fan, to be honest. I thought Kang was really cool. Well, He Who Remains. They call him He Who Remains. I thought Jonathan Majors' performance was really good, even though let's not talk about like what's going on with Jonathan Majors at the moment. But his performance, purely his performance, was pretty good. I enjoyed that part. But yeah, Owen Wilson was great. It was alright. I enjoyed it. I'll give it a B as well. I mean, look, to be honest, I'm probably none of these are gonna get A or S. So B is probably the highest it's gonna go. So, like, giving Loki and WandaVision a B is the best it's gonna get, I feel like. Well, what if I did really enjoy it? I actually did really enjoy What If. Not all the stories were fantastic in What If, but I think I just love trying new things, and that's exactly what If was. Like, the whole concept of What If is that having like a story that's not canon and just being able to do anything. And I think they could have pushed it a little bit more with the stories, but there were some that were really good in my opinion. Like the Ultron one where he gets the Infinity Stones was fucking awesome. I think that was literally the last episode. Like, that last episode killed. The Doctor Strange one was really dope. Yeah, I thought there was some really good episodes in there. There was a few that was like, I don't like. The first one with Captain Carter was pretty boring, and then the Party Thor one was also kind of like, what the fuck is the point of this? So I'm also gonna give this a B. I think there's some stories in the What If that could have been A, but then there's also some stories in What If that could be like C, D. So I'm gonna balance it out and put it at B. Hawkeye was not good at all. Hawkeye was not good at all. I thought Kate Bishop was so annoying, and I like Haley Steinfeld. I think she's a good actress, but I think the way they wrote Kate Bishop was very annoying. And Hawkeye is also just not that interesting of a character, I feel like, in the MCU. I thought the villain was not great. Also, Kingpin wasn't used very well in my opinion. But I think the villain was Echo, and I just thought she just didn't seem very menacing to me. Of course, we've got her series coming up. It looked good. The trailer looked good, and it's the first M-rated show, MCU show, I believe. So I'm excited for it. But just based on what I saw in Hawkeye, I don't think she was very good. So I'm gonna put Hawkeye at probably D tier. I think D. I should add another row. I'm gonna add another row for F. I don't know why I didn't have a F row. Let me just do that quickly now. Call that F. So Hawkeye's not an F. I don't think any of these shows will be an F. Well, maybe they will be, but Hawkeye's a D. It's a D. Miss Marvel. A lot of people like Miss Marvel. Again, I didn't. I don't know. Like I thought. Again, Iman Vellani was really good in the Marvels. In the movie I watched last night, the Marvels, she was very good in there. But I just don't think. I think she was kind of annoying, to be honest, in the series. I think most of the characters were pretty annoying and not interesting, especially her love interest. I thought there was so many things that just didn't make any fucking sense in terms of the time traveling sort of aspect as well. And also like the villains were awful, weren't interesting, weren't menacing at all. Yeah, it wasn't funny. There was just nothing about it that I enjoyed. I thought it was pretty. That old fight, that old school fight as well. When the like the SWAT or whoever the hell's chasing them again, when they come into the school and they fight them with basically Home Alone style traps. I thought that was awful. But it's still not. I don't know. It's not an F though. It's not an F. I'll put it D. Moon Knight is probably the closest to the F so far, because Moon Knight is the biggest disappointment easily of the MCU at the moment. Because first of all, like if you know, I don't read the comics or anything like that, but I've seen bits and pieces of Moon Knight in the comics, and whenever I see bits and pieces of him, he's really fucking cool. Like it's been said many times, but he's sort of like the MCU's kind of Batman, and he's like, from what I've seen, he's just such a cool fucking character, and each one of his personalities are so cool in and of themselves, and they all have special abilities and special skills and qualities that they use, and just none of that coolness from the comics comes through at all in the TV show. I think I can't even remember what his base form is, what Oscar Isaac's base form is in Moon Knight, but that museum guy. That museum guy is so fucking annoying. Like, just like none of his personalities were really that cool. And Moon Knight should be a cooler character in my opinion. And then not to mention, like, I think the first episode was fantastic. When he was blacking out and just killing people constantly, I thought that was fantastic. But then when it got to the second half of the show and the hippo appeared and there was just a big alligator fight, I was just like, this is absolute garbage. I almost want to put this F just because of how disappointed I was, but realistically, it's not an F. It's more like a D. Alright, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Oh my word, She-Hulk. You know, I'm gonna give She-Hulk points for that very original ending, because we all know She-Hulk has that that fourth wall breaking ability, just like Deadpool. And I thought the way they ended it was very interesting and very inventive. But it does pose a lot of problems for the MCU, because now if She-Hulk ever shows up again, like, you just wonder how anything else is ever going to be a threat when she can literally just jump out of the screen and go to the writer's room and physically change things. Like, she's quite literally the most powerful character in the MCU at the moment because of that ability. So that poses a few questions for the MCU later on. But beyond that interesting ending that I thought was a big swing, and I enjoy big swings, but beyond that, like, it was terrible. And my biggest problem with She-Hulk, is that it was a comedy first. It's a comedy. It was clearly a comedy. They were going for jokes constantly. It's definitely within the comedy genre, and yet I don't think I laughed a single time. And for me, if you're a comedy, if you're posing as a comedy, if you're portraying yourself as a comedy and you don't make me laugh a single time, in fact it's incredibly unfunny, F. I can't give it anything other than an F. Again, I appreciate what they tried to do, but if you're making a comedy and you just fail to make me laugh a single time, you've failed to make what you wanted to make. So I can't give it anything else but a failing grade. So it's an F. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. To be honest, I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier was probably my favorite Marvel TV show, to be honest. I liked how grounded it was. I thought whenever they brought people in from the wider universe, like they brought in the Dora Milaje, they brought in Baron Zemo, I thought whenever they brought those people in, they used them very well. And then I also thought it had a great villain. I thought, I forget his name now, but the Captain America clone, I thought that guy was a very interesting villain, a very unhinged villain, and he was honestly kind of scary because, like, you just didn't know what the psycho was going to do next. So I thought it was great. I'm gonna put it. I don't think it's A. I don't think it's quite A just yet. It's close though, so it's high B. It's definitely my favorite one so far. Loki season two. Loki season two for me was better than season one. I loved Ki Kwan first of all. Like Ki Kwan was such a great addition. To be honest, it's just impossible for him to be unlikable in any role. Um, Owen Wilson was fantastic once again, as he always is in Mobius. There was a lot of things in Loki that didn't quite make sense for me. Um, which there's a lot. I don't really want to go into it, but there's a lot of things that just don't quite add up. But looking past that, it was still pretty enjoyable. A lot of enjoyable characters. The ending was cool. What happens with Loki is cool. So I'm probably gonna put that just below Falcon and Winter Soldier. Just below. Still B tier though. I told you, none of these are going in A and S. Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion was pretty bad. Secret Invasion was pretty freaking bad. I'm not gonna lie. First of all, just I don't understand. I don't like the whole premise, the whole foundation of that story just doesn't make sense. The fact that like Nick Fury couldn't find a home for Skrulls in the entire universe, like the entire universe. And if you watch the Marvels, it's really funny because like spoiler alert, but like Captain Marvel needs to relocate a bunch of Skrulls that she found on a different planet, and she finds a home for them almost immediately. So the fact that the home is on Earth, so the fact that Nick Fury couldn't find a home for these Skrulls when there was literally a place for them on the planet that he was on, and it took him decades to find one, and he couldn't find one, and that's the whole reason why the Skrulls are like want to take over the Earth. It's just fucking stupid. The ending was god awful, and they've just made Gaia like one of the strongest characters ever. Which again is just like, why have you done this? Like, you've just made a very overpowered. The MCU keeps doing that nowadays. Is they just keep introducing things that are just broken, and like I struggle to see how these people are gonna fit into the wider universe. Also Maria Sharapova. What the fuck did I say? Maria Sharapova? No, not the tennis player. Maria Hill, played by Kobe Smulders. Like, I can't believe they killed her off in the first episode. Like, Maria Hill, I don't really know like if there's a cult following for Maria Hill, but I liked her. I liked her a lot. I liked her whenever I saw her. And I know before going into Secret Invasion, I thought, okay, now we're gonna get a show that's gonna focus around Nick Fury and possibly Maria Hill a bit as well. And we're finally gonna get to see Maria Hill shine. Because she's been with us since the Avengers. You know, she's been a mainstay in the MCU for quite a while now, and we've never really got any sort of focus on her. And I thought Secret Invasion is going to be the chance to get a focus on her, and they just kill her off immediately. And I thought that was such a terrible decision. Yeah, it just wasn't good. And I just thought that the Skrulls were so underutilized. Like, it should have been so much more tense. Like, the fact that Skrulls can literally steal people's faces, and they could pose as anyone. That is such a horrifying, like, mechanic. And the fact that they utilized it the way they did was just so disappointing. And let's not even get started with, like, comparing it to the comics. Because obviously the comics is a million times better. And the scale was so much grander. And to just see it done in this particular way, it's just nothing short of disappointing. And I don't think it's... I'm gonna put it, it's like in between F and D, honestly, but it's not that much worse than Moon Knight, I think, or Miss Marvel, or Hawkeye. Those are all pretty bad. In fact, I might even move all of these to F, to be honest. I might move everything in D to F. I don't know yet, but yeah, whatever. This is my tier list, basically. I hope you enjoyed it.